When you open Spotify Wrapped or tap a character in Duolingo, you expect absolute perfection. Every swipe, bounce, and transition feels completely effortless. But that frictionless front end is essentially an illusion. Beneath the glass of your screen, producing those fluid moments requires a remarkably chaotic workflow behind the scenes. For decades, digital product creation has been split across a deep fault line. Creative designers live in one world, and technical developers write code in another. When you look at what appears to be a single cohesive animated button, you are actually looking at a fragile patchwork of separate design files, exported video formats, and endless developer workarounds trying to stitch it all together. The modern, seamless applications we rely on every day are beautiful, but they are built on top of production pipelines that are fractured at their core. This flowchart shows the traditional legacy animation pipeline, moving from static mockup to linear timeline to massive JSON exports. This dreaded handoff means every creative choice is limited by engineering pain. Designers craft perfect interactions, only to find code cannot replicate those precise physics. When developers manage to force the asset to work, the final product pays a heavy toll. These workarounds generate massive file sizes, dropped frames, and sluggish loading screens. Product teams are backed into a corner. They must choose between sacrificing their visual standards or sacrificing the app's performance. Rive is an interactive experience engine designed specifically to eliminate the mockup and the handoff completely. Instead of fracturing the process, Rive provides a single workspace where design, animation, and coding occur simultaneously. It allows teams to build the actual production asset instead of a prototype. Traditional animation pools operate exactly like a video player. They simply run a sequence from start to finish. But applications require dynamic, reactive graphics that respond instantly to where a user taps, scrolls, or drags. This shows Rive's core innovation. On the left, a linear timeline. On the right, Rive's state machine, a dynamic, interactive logic map. Creators program rules directly into the asset, dictating that animations only trigger if a user hovers a menu or inputs a password. Because this logic is embedded straight into the design file itself, the gap between the animator's intent and the developer's execution disappears. With the state machine, app graphics operate as fully functioning, programmable software, leaving passive, looping video files behind. Building a complex interactive asset is only half the equation. The physical device still needs the computing power to display it without crashing. This illustrates Rive's proprietary rendering architecture. Instead of exporting heavy sequences, a central, GPU-accelerated engine calculates clean vector math, distributing it straight to the device. Relying on pure math, the hardware barely works, rendering perfect visual quality natively at 120 frames per second. Rive pairs this engine with open-source runtimes. This ensures the exact same file can be deployed across iOS, the web, Android, or even game engines like Unity and Unreal. Teams render pure vector math once and ship it to every platform with zero degradation in quality. Solving the workflow translates directly into measurable business and product performance for companies abandoning legacy tools. This chart compares the data footprint of old workflows against Rive. By eliminating heavy exports, file sizes shrink by up to 90%. This reduction in digital bloat accelerates the product. Cars24 reported a 10% reduction in app launch times simply by switching interactive assets. Inside the studio, removing the handoff friction is allowing production teams to increase their output speeds by up to 4x. Stripping late from the app and accelerating production cycles creates a structural competitive advantage in the market. The global scale of this architectural shift is massive. Products built with Rive currently reach over 2 billion users worldwide. When Spotify adopted the engine for their Wrapped campaign, it handled hundreds of millions of users, driving a 20% jump in engagement and marking the highest single day of subscriber intake in the company's history. For designers and developers, this provides the interactive control once offered by tools like Flash, but built with the stability and speed of modern hardware. Prototyping and developer handoffs have been replaced by a single workflow. If an interaction works in the editor, it is already functional code, fully built and ready to ship to the world.